Hi there everyone, welcome to another Feature Friday with FarmIQ. So my name's Glenn Chesterman, I'm one of the account managers at FarmIQ. If you're currently using any of our products, you might have spoken to me before, or if you're looking at incorporating it on your farm, yeah, you might get in touch with me as well. So the Feature Friday I'm going to be talking about this week is our Grazing Days report. So if you're keeping track of mobs on FarmIQ, so we can see here, this is my family farm, and we have our sheep and cattle in paddocks throughout the map. So when these get moved, we are moving them between paddocks, like this. And this is helping keep track of the grazing data in the system. So we can see here, we have 76 2021 lambs weaned, and in FarmIQ, we can work out the equivalent stock unit to that and start putting together some grazing pressure data. So often farms will keep their animals in the paddocks as a management tool because it allows you to visually see where all the stock are on farm, and it can help with planning. But you're also getting some great grazing pressure data from that as well. Cool. So when we run this report, we want to come up to the report center here in the top right, and then go land and grazing days. Awesome. So when we go to run the report, we get the option to run it by total stock units or by days. So by total stock units is taking into account that equivalent stock unit calculation, which FarmIQ is doing in the background, or by days is just the number of days that you have had stock in that paddock. So if we go by total stock units, you can also do it by blocks. So if you, for instance, if you're techno grazing and you're keeping stock in a set area, you're moving breaks very regularly, you might just keep the animals in a block and not record the daily or twice daily movements. This still allows you to run a report um, covering that grazing pressure. So if we go by total stock units, by paddocks, then come down here and go quick date select and go last year. This will give us all the movement data from the last year and put that into this report. Awesome. So here we can see an array of colors uh, spread across the farm. The darker areas are areas which have been grazed heavier. So down in the legend on the right hand side, we can see this corresponds to around about 10.69 to 125.11 stock units per hectare. That's probably because there's a small paddock in here somewhere which we've chucked a couple of views in and they haven't been moved when they should have been. But most of the other data corresponds pretty accurately to stock units per hectare across the farm. So from this data, it's very powerful for sheep and beef farms as often you aren't recording the pasture covers, which equivalent dairy farms would be. So the grazing data calculated for your movements in FarmIQ is nearly the strongest data you can get on pasture production across the farm. So this paddock down here, obviously it's been grazed heavier than this one on the left. So we might want to, when it comes to planning our maintenance FERT or doing pasture renewal, this report can really help us out to know which paddocks to pick. So looking at this one, we'll be like, oh man, it's produced a lot more grass than the subsequent one next to it. So maybe we put a bit more FERT on it and help it out. Of course, you need to do your soil test as well, but it kind of gives you an idea of what's going on. Whereas this little grey paddock here, it's a flat paddock on the farm, so it should probably be producing more. So maybe we will look to do a pasture renewal on this paddock when it comes around in spring next year. So this is the Grazing Days report. It is utilizing that data, which a lot of you are probably recording already. If you're not recording your movements at the moment, get them in and you can start calculating a lot of grazing pressure and kind of seeing how your farm is recording across time. So awesome. I hope that helps you guys. If you need a hand with anything or have any more questions, feel free to shout out and we can help you out. Awesome. Thanks. Have a good weekend.